Mary Jo Cullen from Wawa, Toronto and Wawa.
Hey Sarah, I'm just wondering if we sort of take a look at that section of Lake Superior from Pakasaw National Park all the way down to the Sioux. MNR has said as recently as last summer that that area is essentially free of any of the Ponto-Gaspian invaders that I think spiny water flea is an exception. It's supposed to be throughout the Great Lakes. But now we are now seeing, we're faced with the development of a port in that area that has essentially not been active for the last 50, 60 years. There are now going to be Lakers going into that pristine area, dumping millions and millions of gallons of ballast water picked up in the lower Great Lakes. And since it doesn't look like there is going to be any requirement for Lakers to have on-board treatment facilities, do you see any solutions to that discrepancy between today or next year, when this facility is going to be operative, and 2016, and what could be done to try and preserve this area, which is really the last stretch of Lake Superior, which is free of the Ponto-Gaspian invaders?
So it's your question, what could be done between now and 2016?
Yeah,
well, we've actually had a lot of discussion about that, and the question is actually coming from the industry, as in what can we do? Tell us what to do, because if we can do something, we'll try and do it. And really, we don't have a lot of options for them because they don't go out to mid-ocean where they can do ballast water exchange. Some people have suggested, well, can they do exchange out in the middle of Lake Superior, so the stuff's going out in the middle instead of the port? But a lot of the ships aren't constructed in such a way. They're built completely different than foreign ships, and they just don't have the structural strength to do ballast water exchange. So it doesn't really seem to be an option. There has been some talk about whether or not we could make them use chemical treatments right away, but back to that question about the salinity, I have quite a lot of concerns about chemical treatment of ballast water, because same thing, we're going to have these residual chemicals, which will be limited to some minimum level, but still over the long term you'll be getting discharge of chemicals. And so again, we have to think about which is the lesser of two evils. So I think at the moment we don't have anything to suggest what to do with them, and I think one thing that would be worth looking at is historically how much ballast water has gone to that area, because Lake Superior seems to have a lot of natural protection. I think Roger talked about this. So I think that Lake Superior has about half the number of invasive species as is found in the total of the Great Lakes or in the lower Great Lakes. But they're getting 95% of the ballast water discharge. So they're getting most of the introduction effort, but are only getting half of the invasions. And so that's where, the first factor affecting invasion success, which is propagule pressure, that's being met for Lake Superior. But those next two factors, the environmental, chemical, and biological factors, seem to be preventing or not being suitable for a lot of invasives. And I think really that's why Lake Superior only has half the species that other lakes have, because historically they've been, Lake Superior has been receiving a lot of the discharge but not getting all the invasions. So yeah, so there are invasive species, but it's only half of what's in some of the other lakes. So even though most of the introductions are happening there's something going on that's reducing invasions. Now, half is still not great, so we still want to manage and do better. But
you said earlier that prevention is the key. How do we prevent this? I mean, I really wonder. The gentleman over here earlier said something about regulation to bring regulation in to prevent invasive species from becoming established.